Welcome to part 3 of our text-based choose your own adventure game. In this video we're going to finish up our images showing on our pages and changing them as we turn pages. So without any further ado, let's get started. So if you will recall in our previous video, if we go into our widgets and we go to our main interface here, we added in size boxes, and that's going to be where our images are going to show up on the page. Now if we went up to palette and we searched image and we put an image in there and then changed that image, how blueprinting works or how UMG works, there's some discrepancy there where the resizing doesn't work exactly, and that's fine because there's more data that we wanted to hand off anyways, because we need to pass an image as well as its position. So what we're going to do that is we're just going to make another widget blueprint. So let's go back to our level blank, and then down in our content folder we're going to right click and go to user interface widget blueprint. I'm going to call this WBP for widget blueprint underscore image with position, and we can go ahead and open that up. Since we will be placing this in a size box, we do not need a canvas panel, so let's come down here, right click and delete that, and then go to the palette and type in image, and we're just going to add an image right here. So just click and drag it down, and I'm going to rename this from image 59 to something different just so we know what it's for. I'm just going to call it page image, and make sure it is checked as a variable, and we don't really need to fill out anything else. Hop over to the graph tab, and we are going to make a function. So come over to the left hand side under my blueprint, and under function hit add function, and we're just going to call this update image. This function will take in a input, so come down in the details panel under input and hit plus new parameter, and I'm just going to call this image to use, and it is going to be of type texture 2D because that is what we brought in to use. And then from there we're going to get a reference to our image page image. It's a terrible name. We're going to drag off and say set brush from texture because we will be passing a texture to it. We want it to match size, so whatever size the image you brought in, we want that size box to fill up the whole size and fit within our scroll box. And then we're just going to drag this over and connect it up, and then drag off this execution pin and type in return for our return node. And then we can compile and save, and that's all we need to do for the image with position blueprint. So we can close it and go back to our level blank. So let's hop back over to our main interface and let's go to the graph tab. Before we do anything, I want to do some organizing over here. So I'm going to put all of the widget components in one container. I'm going to put all the music stuff in one container, and then I'm going to put all the image related things in another container. So for scrollbox choices, we'll click it, and where it says category, it says default, I'm just going to say widget. And then I'm going to put page info in widget. I'm going to put the page description into widget. I'm going to put the title into widget. And then current music, I'm going to click it and come down to category. I'm going to change that category to music. And I'm going to put fade time also into music. And if we come up here and expand components, I'm going to click music player, and I'm going to actually move it to music. And then I'm going to collapse those, and then our bottom and top are both going to go into images, or image, because that's what they're going to be related to. And we'll be referencing them, and it'll be easier to find this way. And then we're going to make a new variable. So come up here to variables and hit plus variable, and we're going to call this all images, and this is going to be an array that contains all images on a page when we turn to it. So we'll be manipulating this array constantly. So we'll be removing images from it and adding images to it every time we turn a page. So it's going to be of type WBP underscore image with position, because that's what it's going to hold. It's going to hold a bunch of those blueprints we just made. And then we're going to come right next to it and click this and set it to an array. then we're going to come down to category, and we're going to set it to images. And I'm going to hit compile and save. So now, every time we turn a page, we look at our data table, and then we call this fill out page function. So within this fill out page function, we need to have it destroy images that we are currently displaying on the previous page, and then on the new page, add those images back. So I'm going to make a destroy image function first, and I'm going to keep in mind that this destroy image function is going to be in a larger function. Go over to the function, and we're going to hit plus function, and I'm just going to call this destroy images. And this is a pretty simple function, so I'm going to control click and drag in our all image array. I'm going to drag off of it, and I'm going to type in for each loop. Hook up the execution pins and reposition that. And then I'm simply going to drag off the array element, and I'm going to type in remove from parent because it is a widget, and that will destroy it to the best of Unreal's ability. And then I'm going to drag in the all images again, so control click and drag it in. I'm going to drag off and type in clear because it will have a bunch of empty indexes now, and so we want to remove all of those indexes so that we can put all new stuff in. And then I'm going to drag off of this and type in return. And then we can compile and save. Now we need to make a function that will manage our images, because if you recall within our image widget blueprint that we made a second ago, it has an update image function within it. So we need to make a function that will call that and update all the images and position them correct. So let's go back to our function and hit plus function, and we're going to call this manage images. This image will have an input, so let's click on it and come down to our inputs and hit plus new parameter. I'm going to call this image position. Whoops. Let's try that again. Image position array, because in our data table there is an array of positions that we need access to, and then we'll use that array to put images in the correct position. I'm going to click this, and it's going to be of type struct image, and then compile and save. First thing we want to do when this gets called in our fill out page is destroy images. So we want to eliminate all the images we have because we're about to bring in new ones. Next, we need to get our scroll box page info, and that would be under widget. So expand widgets, scroll box page info. We're going to control, drag that in. We're going to drag off of it, and we're going to type in for each loop. Or I'm sorry, we need to get all the children of this. Get all children, because we need to know where our positions are. Then we're going to drag off of that array, and we're going to type in for each loop. Hook that up. Line this up. The next thing we want to do is get the size box. So as it goes through this, it's going to look at our widget components. So it's basically going to go down this list, and it's going to go, is this a size box? Is this a size box? Is this a size box? And if it returns true that it is a size box, meaning that a cast was successful, then we want to put a widget blueprint within that size box. So where it says array element, we're going to drag off and type cast to size box. So if this fails, it's not a size box and we don't want to do anything. If it succeeds, we want to right click this and promote to local variable. I'll just call it local underscore element. And we also want to get its name, because remember we named them like bottom, top, or whatever you named them. So we have to compare that to our data table, because we made an enumeration that contained all of our positions in it. So we want to, once we get a size box, we want to compare it to the structure we're passing in and say, hey, if the name of this size box is top and the enumeration for the image we're using is top, then create the widget blueprint and put it within our size box. So we're going to pull off of this, and we're going to type in get object name. We're going to pull off that, and we're going to hit equal equal, so equal string. We're going to compare two strings. Now we're going to pull off of our image position array and type in break image. And this is going to drive me insane with all this stuff everywhere. So I'm going to double click right here to get a reroute node. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to control select my break structure image. I'm going to hold shift and then press S, and then I'm going to press Q. And then I'm going to select it and my destroy images. I'm going to hit shift A to line them up better. And then I'm going to select all these and hit shift A to line those up better. And then I'm going to select this and shift A to line that up. And I'm going to click get object name and the equal, and then hit Q to line those up. And then we're going to connect our position to this equal, and it will convert it so that we can compare the strings. And then I'm just going to bring these up. And I'm going to click the conversion and this, so control click both, and then hit Q to line them up. Next, we're going to press B and left click to get a branch. We're going to hook that up. So now we're comparing the name of the size box we found to what we've passed to it, and we will be passing this within our fill out page. So this will be coming from the data table. So if we passed it in, it has returned true. So now we need to create a widget blueprint image with position. Remember, we destroyed all the other ones, so we're not updating one. We're just creating a new one and then updating it. So we're going to drag off of true, and we're going to type in create widget. Under class, we're going to select WBP underscore image with position. And then it wants an owning player, so we're just going to right click and get player controller. And if you scroll over this in the toolbox, it tells you what it needs, which is the player controller. Next, we're going to pull in our all image array. So control, drag in, because we need to add this element to this array. Because we've cleared this completely out, this will be added to this one. So the next time we turn the page, it will go back to this array, destroy all the images, destroy all the widgets, and then repopulate it again. So we're going to drag off of it and type in add. We don't need to add unique or anything because at this point the array is completely empty and has no indexes. We're going to take the return value and hook it up. Then we're going to drag off of the return value and we're going to type in update image. That's the function that we built into the widget. And the image to use is actually going to come from here. So I'm going to drag this all the way across and hook it up. I'm going to double click the line, and then I'm going to control click break structure and hit shift S to bring it down and to line them up. And then I'm going to click that and control click add and hit shift D to line those up. And then finally, we're going to pull off of our local element. We're going to get our local element, so control drag in, and we're going to add that as a child. We're going to drag off of it. We're going to type in add child. And we're going to hook this up right there. And we're going to pass in this return value. And then I'm going to compile and save. And so this is our function for managing our images. It will destroy all the images. It will look at all the components that are attached, compare the name to the size boxes, to our enum that we made. If the name lines up with a size box, it will create a widget of our image, and then it will put that inside the size box, and it will apply the image to the widget after we've created it. So now we need to go to our fill out page function, and before we enter into our loop right here, we need to manage our images first. And then also, once this loop is complete, we need to reset our scroll box. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this fill out page, I'm going to drag it backwards. I'm going to right click this. I'm going to promote to a local variable. I'm going to call this local underscore choice. Oops, I hit caps lock. Array. And I'm just going to connect it up right here. And then I'm going to delete both of these reroutes. And I'm going to control click, drag in our local choice array, and apply it right here just to make things look nicer and more readable because this is getting too many wires. I'm going to pull all these back, and we're going to add in our manage images right here. So I'm going to drag off that execution pin and type in manage images. And then we need to set our image position array, which comes from our data table. So I'm going to pull that over, connect it up, double click to get a reroute, pull it down and line it up with our set text. So select both, Shift D. So now our images will be managed, but we need to manage our scroll box. So to do that, we're going to pull in our scroll box choices, and we're going to pull in our scroll box page info. So Control, click, and drag those in. Then I'm going to drag off of it. I'm going to say scroll to start. So once our page is built, we want to reset the scroll box to where it began. I'm going to Control C, Control V, hook that up, hook up the execution pins, hook up the complete, and then I'm going to line this up. So select all those, Shift A, line this up, Shift A, compile, save. That should do it for this video. So if we go back to our level blank and we press play, we have images, and the images change as we move along. Now, if you press play and your screen is black and nothing happens, if you look up here and it says untitled instead of level blank, it means you did not set your level to open to in your project settings. So if you just want to test it without updating your project settings right now, just go to your level folder, double click level blank, and you'll get it. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions, suggestions, or requests, please comment down below or contact me through any other medium. Thanks for watching.